How's it going, Ram fans? It's Monday night, and you know what that means. Another CTV Sports show. I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ethan Bird. A full show is ahead of us. We have highlights from all of CSU's action this week.
Tom Brady earned his 7th ring yesterday.
And Down in the DMs rounds out the night. As always, all of this and more coming up next on CTV Sports. It was Border War week for both CSU Hoops teams, and we have all of the action. First up, the men on Thursday night in Laramie. Let's get into it. We've got a double team on Ike down low, which leads to the turnover to Isaiah Stevens to Kendall Moore for the transition 3 splash, and they are one of the deadliest teams in the nation at doing that. We got big body Roddy down low, just eating up his defender for the tough layup. Very well could have been an and one, but wasn't given to the Rams. And Tanjay says, I can do it too, David, with the tough acrobatic layup there and one to bring the Rams within one. Tie game. Thistlewood, good from deep. Rams are taking it down the stretch, but look at that tie game. Kendall Moore, he's going to drive it all by himself and hit the tough layup, but the game's not over yet. 5.8 seconds left. Marble almost turns it over, but he gets a pretty uncontested 3 there, but it just does not land, and the Rams would steal the first game of the road doubleheader, 74-72. CSU was led by David Roddy, who had 15 points and 8 rebounds, but a big part of the success was contribution from the bench. John Tanjay had 14 points and nailed all 6 of his free throws, helping the Rams to outscore the Cowboys bench 24-10 and escape with the narrow win.
And unlike last week, CSU was finally able to complete a sweep and beat the Cowboys in their second matchup in a more commanding fashion, winning 68-59. And we'll start off with PJ Bird all the way down court to David Roddy, of course, slams it down the throats of the Wyoming Cowboys. Now you have Desean Thomas out to John Tanjay, falling down as he takes this 3. Absolutely beautiful. Wyoming offense, you have Marble de Maldonado for 2, CSU maintaining that lead throughout the game. And last, we have Xavier Dussel, who tried to save it, but it goes right into the hands of Isaiah Stevens, who takes it himself all the way to the basket, scoring 2. CSU dominated this game, and David Roddy ended the night with yet another double-double, his 7th of the season, with 15 points and 11 rebounds, helping the Rams reach a 14-4 overall record and an 11-3 in conference play, moving to 2nd in the Mountain West behind Utah State. The Rams look to continue their momentum tomorrow night back here in Fort Collins as they take on the New Mexico Lobos in yet another double-header.
I'll tell you what. Nico Medved has got himself a special team. There's a reason he's called, the rebuild coach. That people bring in, they rebuild a program, but he's done it in 3 years. And I mean, the Rams, they've got tournament hopes.
Absolutely, and I think my favorite part about this whole thing is you talk about it, their bench is going off, and I think that makes such a big difference, especially after last week with how many turnovers they had against Boise. So it's good to see that their bench is finally making some moves for them.
Well, it really feels like John Tanjay's kind of found his spot. I mean, he went for double-digit points in the last 2 games, and he's been a huge contributor all season, hopefully continue tomorrow night. But moving on to the women's side of hoops, the Border War also made its way to Moby last week when the 12-2 Rams team took on the 8-7 Cowgirls. Now let's get on into it. Laura DeVos, final seconds of the first quarter, just gets it off, and that one's good, and that's going to keep the momentum going for the Rams early. McKenna Hofschild up top. She says, I got the moves, I got the handles, spinny, winny, and then floater. That's just good basketball right there, and that's all I have to say about that one. Well done, Hofschild. There she is again, but QB1 this time over to Ellie Bonai for the transition 3 to keep that Ram bench excited and keep the Rams out front of the Cowgirls. Hofschild, no antics this time, just straight to the rim with the and one. Doesn't matter if you're not the tallest person on the court, as long as you are the greatest person on the court. And that's what Hofschild did. Laura DeVos gets all those defenders to come to her for the easy layup for Carly Murphy, and the Rams would clinch Game 1 69-61. Laura DeVos has been the senior to really lead this team as she earned herself her 6th double-double of the season with 21 points and 11 rebounds. The Rams also shot 54.5% from deep and won their 6th game in a row for the first time in 5 seasons.
Head coach Ryan Williams and company swept their Cowboy opponents before the men's did, and they did it just as well. To start off, we're going to look at them down early, and Jamie Bonnerin does what she does best, splash, tie the game at 19 apiece. Now we have Laura DeVos, of course, forcing the shot, gets a nice bank shot for 2, and the star of the game, Hofschild, untouched as she drives to the basket for 2. DeVos, steal, drive all the way to the basket, all by herself. Nice little 2 for the Rams right there. They were struggling in the beginning, but they definitely finished the game, beating Wyoming 68-65, and the Rams left Moby Arena with an overall 14-2 record. CSU shot 41.9% from the field and 33.3% beyond the three-point line. But that's thanks to sophomore guard McKenna Hofschild, who took a commanding lead and finished the night with 22 points herself.
Well, how awesome is it is that CSU is now 5-0 against Wyoming this whole year. The first time in almost 2 decades that the Rams have gone 5-0 against the Cowboys in all sports.
Yeah, that's crazy to me to see that that's continued throughout these seasons now. I mean, you got football that did it first, and now both men's and women's get to do it in the same week. I think that's awesome, and it's also incredible to see that Wyoming has never done it before.
Exactly, and if volleyball sweeps there too, it would be a clean 7-0, and the younger cousins up north might not be too happy about that one.
No, I don't think so.
But Hofschild wasn't the only one balling out in Moby last week. CSU volleyball finally started their season against Air Force, who they had beaten 52 times in a row entering Friday's match. And let's get right into it. The dig from Air Force goes straight to Romeliotis, Sierra Zimmerman to Sasha Colombo. She just uses that Italian strength to put it where no one else is and where no one else can get it. Romeliotis receives the serve. Sierra Zimmerman with the set, which is blocked, but that one handled by Air Force. But Karina Lieber with the solo block, the freshman, showing us how it's done. And here we go. Brianna Reynolds is just going to try to force that one into the corner, but that was easy to receive for Air Force. But Romeliotis with the big dig. But Brianna Reynolds says, I'm just going to hit it too hard for you to return it this time. She was not playing around in that other opposite corner. She got one of her 18 kills. And Joy Harvey gets blocked by the Rams, and that's going to be 25-11 to give the Rams their third set. Sierra Zimmerman, who has the large job of replacing 3-time Conference Player of the Year Katie Oleksak, finished the night with 40 assists and 3 aces. And this year's preseason Player of the Year in the Mountain West, Brianna Reynolds, hit 32.5% from the floor with 18 digs. And with the 3-1 win, Tom Hilbert moves to a perfect 24-0 in home openers.
Well, Moby Arena saw the last of this week's action on Saturday night, but unfortunately for CSU fans, the Colorado State volleyball team finished off the week with a rare loss versus Air Force. The Rams were defeated in their second game against the Falcons, losing all 3 sets. And while CSU had more digs than the Falcons with 45 on the night, the Rams were unable to finish a set with only 35 kills as opposed to the Falcons' 43. Hoping to regain some footing, the Rams head to Reno, Nevada on Friday for another doubleheader against the Nevada Wolfpack, where they hope to move past their first loss against the Academy in over 25 years. That's insane. 25 years without a loss to Air Force, and that's just too bad that had to happen the other night.
It was almost a tale of two teams, right? You know, game one was the CSU volleyball team that we've always known, always dominant, and always, the favorite to win the Mountain West this year. But I think that sweep, they haven't been swept in since, 2018 is what it was? I think that just shows what all those fresh new faces do. Tom Hilbert, I think it's just going to take time to get this whole unit to really work together like previous teams have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the men's and women's basketball getting their sweeps, it was almost too perfect that if the volleyball team could have done it too, it would have been pretty insane to see.
Sometimes the sports gods don't smile too heavily upon you as much as you like. Well, now that we are all caught up on CSU action for the past week, we have some exciting news regarding the Rams men's basketball team schedule for next season.
And I have my reaction to the NFL awards coming up next.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. And as exciting as this season for CSU men's basketball has been, the 2021-22 season will have a nice tropical start to it. On Friday, Colorado State Athletics announced that the Rams will be traveling to the Virgin Islands for the Virgin Islands Paradise Slam on November 19th to the 22nd, and there will be one very familiar face there. The CU Buffaloes will be making the trip with the Rams. The rest of the 8-team field will be filled out by Bradley, Brown, Creighton, Duquesne, Northeastern, and Southern Illinois. The Rams' opponents for the upcoming tournament currently have a combined 77-52 record, with Creighton being ranked 19th in the nation. Without much of a non-conference schedule this year due to COVID, the Rams have an opportunity to show off their stuff early next season in this out-of-conference tournament. Now, looking back at the year that was, as much as we wish we did not have to, CSU Athletics released its yearly financial results. As it has every year under Joe Parker, the athletics department outperformed its athletics plan. Men's basketball and women's volleyball both saw increases in ticket sales, 14% and 12% respectively, despite seeing a record revenue loss of $1.1 million. CSU Athletics still exceeded its expected self-generated revenue by $300,000. But that is dwarfed when you consider the corporate star power we saw last night in Tampa Bay. Right, Rachel?
That's right, Ethan. Last night was the final game of the NFL's 2020-2021 season, with what should have been an exciting game with star power on both sides of the field. But one team proved stronger than the other. The 55th big game kicked off last night between the returning champions Kansas City, who looked to repeat, and the unsuspecting, unrelenting, all-new offense in Tampa Bay. Unable to complete the rare accomplishment of back-to-back championships, KC was taken down by the new kids on the block 31-9. After having an offense that was firing on all cylinders during the regular and postseason, Kansas City was unable to even make it into the end zone, leaving the confetti-filled field with only 9 points on the board, all of which came from their kicker, Harrison Butker, on 3 field goal attempts. In his 21st season, the never-aging Tom Brady appeared in his 10th title game and won his 7th championship. And for the first time in his career, he did it without New England and the famous head coach Bill Belichick. Brady finished his night completing 21 of his 29 passing attempts, throwing for 201 yards with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Although, let's be honest, Tyrann Mathieu had an opportunity to turn over the ball, but had it taken back after some questionable calls. Brady wasn't alone in his new quest for the ship. His longtime teammate and friend, Rob Gronkowski, was far from absent on the field, with 6 receptions for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, after the game, there is the whole aspect of naming the MVP of the Super Bowl, and for the 5th time in his career, Tom Brady was named the game's MVP of the 2021 season. And with this win, Tampa head coach Bruce Arians has become the oldest coach to win the big game at 68 years old and is not looking to retire anytime soon, saying in his press conference, "I ain't going anywhere. I'm trying to get 2, and then we'll see." Arians is definitely holding the same mentality that Tom Brady has had for quite some time now, always in search for the next one. Now that the season has come to an end, it was time to name off the 2020 NFL award winners. And while Tom Brady may have won MVP of the title game, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers was named the MVP of the 2020 season, being named to his 3rd selection of his career and becoming the 6th player with 3+ multiple most valuable player awards. Now moving to my personal favorite of the season, Los Angeles Chargers rookie quarterback Justin Justin Herbert was awarded both the Pepsi and AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Herbert and the Chargers have a lot of young potential on their rebuilding team, and with a whole new coaching staff coming into the mix, the Chargers are looking forward to the coming seasons. Now, what came with a lot of controversy, Los Angeles Rams defensive lineman Aaron Donald was named the Defensive Player of the Year, and runner-up TJ Watt was not hesitant to speak his mind on the subject. The Steelers defensive lineman played one less game than Donald and still led the league in almost every major pass rushing category except for one, yet was still passed up for the title. Donald has now won his third Defensive Player of the Year award in the last 4 years and does not appear to be slowing down. Finishing the award show off, probably the most impressive, most important, and most unsurprising award of the night went to Washington football team quarterback Alex Smith. After having what could have been a career-ending injury back in 2018, one that was practically identical to that of the infamous Joe Theismann injury that took place back in 1985, most thought his career was over. But Smith proved everyone wrong, trained harder than anyone ever could, and worked back from a possible amputation and life-threatening infection to start in his first game and complete his first pass in just 693 days. Congrats to Alex Smith on winning such a well-deserved award, inspiring all those around him to work harder and go after the goals they have set for themselves, no matter how difficult they may appear. Now make sure to stick around because Down in the DMs is coming up after this.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Go down in the DM. It go down, it go down. It goes down in the DM. It go down, it go down in the DM. It go down, tell her.
Wake up, Rams. Week 2 of Down in the DMs is coming at you right now. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Our first question, Rachel, will Patrick Mahomes ever be able to catch up to Tom Brady in the GOAT conversation?
Personally, I think this is a ridiculous question to have to be asked in the first place. Yes, he had a very off game in the Super Bowl, and he didn't have an offensive line that was helping him. But that's no reason to say that he's not going to be able to get to the same caliber. I think that he is definitely on the verge of getting this same exact position as Tom Brady.
Yeah, so, I mean, what we just saw right there was when he was parallel to the ground throwing the football. Yes, Patrick Mahomes, he had a tough first quarter. But, I mean, it was an embarrassing game overall for the Chiefs. I mean, that's the type of football game that is never forgotten. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Patrick Mahomes did the best that he could when he was running. How many yards did you say earlier?
It was almost 500. It said that they calculated how much he was scrambling basically throughout the whole game, and it was about 497 yards that he ran by himself, just running away from people like Shaq Barrett.
Just scrambling and getting smacked. But before we get into this, let's take a look at the numbers. Let's look at this graphic that I conjured up here. So tail of the tape. First full 3 seasons for both Mahomes and Tom Brady. Wins goes to Mahomes. Completion percentage goes to Mahomes. Touchdowns almost basically doubled goes to Mahomes. Total yards goes to Mahomes. Their rating, not QBR. I wish I could have used QBR, but that wasn't around from 2001 to 2003 because Tom Brady is old. But rating goes to Mahomes. The only thing that goes to Tom Brady is rings. So do you think, is he on track?
Oh, 100%.
He
Like
is
I
on track.
said, he needs the help around him. One player is not going to make the difference for an entire game. You
Absolutely.
need especially for Patrick, he needs his offensive line to be rebuilt because he should not have to be scrambling every single play in a game. That's just ridiculous.
That's kind of what happens when let's look at the contract that he got. Do the Chiefs have enough money to rebuild their offensive line? But if they do, I mean, he and Tom Brady is obviously, I'm not saying he's not the GOAT right now. I don't think that's what you're saying either. But just because of the Super Bowl does not mean that Patrick Mahomes isn't even in the conversation anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is no disregard to what Tom Brady has done throughout his career. Props to him for moving from one team to another and still going to the championship.
Yep.
That's incredible. I can't even understand how he did that in the first place. It just doesn't make sense in my mind. But it just goes back to how he has so many players around him, and his offensive line was doing a great job in this game last night. And I just think that Patrick Mahomes should not be seen as a bad quarterback after that performance, because he's obviously shown, like you said in those statistics, he has obviously shown that he deserves to be here, he can be here, and he could easily be growing more still too. He's so young. And if you look at Tom Brady, like you said, he's old. He's been playing this game for a long time, and he's continued to get better throughout his career. So it's all up in the air for Patrick Mahomes, but I think that he could absolutely still continue to grow.
It's just crazy to me that guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless are jumping ship like it's the Titanic. No, you just got a small little hole in the ship.
It was one
he
game.
went to the Super Bowl.
It was one game that he lost
Super
to.
Bowl.
That was it.
Like, come on. Give me a break.
Looking at that one throw, though, where he is almost hitting the ground, and it still hits right in the face mask of Tyreek Hill in the end zone, let alone, and he should have had a touchdown. Like I said, this just doesn't make sense to me that this is even a conversation in the first place. He is absolutely at that caliber of GOAT, and I know he's been called baby GOAT for a while now. I think that he's going to be huge GOAT coming down the line.
Yeah, give him 17 more seasons.
Give him 17 more seasons and a couple more championship appearances. I think he'll be okay. All right, well, many think that the Nuggets are underperforming this season. Ethan, is it time to start worrying about them?
You know, it's just tough. This last game against Sacramento that they lost, it's very easy to panic. They absolutely imploded against the Lakers on Thursday. That was bad. They were winning by, I think 12 at halftime, and they got outscored by almost double in the third quarter. I've been calling them the worst third quarter team in the NBA all year, because that's what they've been. But when you have Nikola Jokic, do you really need to panic? Do you really need to freak out?
Well, clearly, yeah. If he's still getting 50 points in a game, but you're still losing, I think that's a little bit of a problem.
That is upsetting. I do agree with you. But you have to remember, Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, and Facu Campazzo were all out against Sacramento. And Sacramento has had Denver's number, but 8 or 7 new guys came onto this team. This is not the exact same team that we had last year. Training camp was not nearly, we're very far into the season, but this is a team that has been plagued by injuries, did not get to meld together really in training camp. Just give them some time. Have trust in Nikola Jokic, the MVP, by the way. And you can have, let's put the panic meter at 3 out of 10, 4, maybe, no, I was pushing 4.8. That's where I would put it. What do you think?
Not going for the 5?
No.
No?
No,
Still a little too much?
Not quite there.
Okay. Well, I would agree with you. I think that they definitely need some more time. And Jokic, always playing well. Always playing well. Like I said, if he's getting 50 points in a game, I don't think you need to worry about him specifically. He's obviously doing what he needs to do. But, like you said, they're ridden with injuries. If they can keep that off the table and they can stay healthy, I think that's going to be good for them. But, currently, I don't see them going to a championship right now. I don't really know if I could see them going very far in the playoffs anyway. You just have such a young team. MPJ is still growing.
Think they make it to a Western Conference final again this year?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Utah got better, yes. Utah got better. I don't think the Clippers got better. I think the Nuggets could beat the Clippers again. Yeah. And they could beat the Jazz again. They snapped their 11 games winning streak, but you don't think they make it to the Western Conference final again?
I just like seeing you get all revved up about it. It's kind of funny.
Who beats them?
I would say the Clippers. I feel like you're gonna be shocked by that one.
But okay, I mean we can tackle that another day.
Well, we can obviously debate about that one. That's definitely coming. I can see it already happening.
Yeah. We'll think about it, but don't panic too much, Nuggets Nation. You got a believer over here, a cynic over there.
Hey, Lakers are my team. I'm not gonna go against them, so just wait.
You know, that's just embarrassing. You just admitted that on TV.
Yeah, why is that so bad to admit? No, don't move on yet. Don't move on yet. No. Who won the last championship?
Yeah, well, the
COVID one. Yeah, okay. That makes perfect sense.
James. Okay, we're going on tangents here. Let's move on. Unless you want.
No, it's all good. No, we'll move on. That's all I needed to say. It's okay.
You know, this offseason is already starting to look like it could be quite the QB carousel in the NFL. But with that being said, who do you think will be the Broncos starting quarterback next season?
You know, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to figure this out. I know that John Elway definitely wants to fill that position and be confident with where he's been. I mean, you guys haven't really had a nice quarterback that you could trust and have a franchise QB since Peyton Manning, and that's 5 years after he's been retired. I mean, he's now in the Hall of Fame,
it's been long enough for him to be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly, 5 years. Yeah. That's how long it's been since you guys have since the Broncos have had a chance to be comfortable with their quarterback. I think best case scenario, they sign somebody like an old veteran quarterback right now, somebody that could be a good spot for Locke, for him to get some mentorship from, and for him to grow and figure out where he's at in that position.
Like Andy Dalton, like he's a free agent guy, or are you thinking like they trade for somebody?
I'm thinking a free agent guy. I don't think they need to go for trades right now, but I mean, I don't know. Obviously, there's talks about Deshaun Watson going to the Broncos. How do you feel about that one?
Oh, man. I mean, who wouldn't want Deshaun Watson on their football team? I would give up anything to have Deshaun Watson on my football team. You want all my draft picks this year?
You have to give up to Deshaun Watson.
But it's Deshaun Watson. Imagine Deshaun Watson with Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon. Like, that's just, if you're an offensive coordinator, you are dreaming about that at night. But realistically, I think that Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback for the Broncos next season, because George Payton, this is his first year as a GM. And traditionally, in your first year as a general manager of a national football team, you don't take super big shots.
Yeah.
Because super big shots get you fired. Like you got, I mean, and especially if you've got Pat Bowlen. You are filling the shoes of Pat Bowlen, who is one of the most beloved men in Denver history and one of the most historic GMs in NFL history. So, I mean, you could make history by getting Deshaun Watson, but I don't think George Payton has it in him in his first year.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be, if you do that trade, it's going to be a lot that you have to give up. A lot of draft picks. I think that you're going to have to work tirelessly to get Deshaun Watson, but obviously that would be a big pickup for them. But, I mean, also look at it. You're 9th in the draft right now if you don't do any trades. So do they go for maybe drafting a new quarterback in the first round?
Kyle Trask would not be an awful pick.
No, it would not be an awful pick.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Trask it's not John Elway anymore, but that's the type of John Elway quarterback, you know what I mean? But he'd actually be good.
Yeah, all right. Well, Rams, that is all the time that we have for tonight. To stay updated on all CSU athletics through the week, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at sports_CTV. I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ethan Bird. Tune in the same time tomorrow night for the always entertaining Allison Hubbard in Hubbard's Huddle. Good night, Rams.